What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Under the Arch Sports. I'm Eric Hobbs.
And I'm David Woldingen.
And it's time to talk about Vladimir Tarasenko and his trade to the New York Rangers and what that means for the Blues going forward. But first, I need all of you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, find us on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. All right, guys. The Thursday's big news. Vladimir Tarasenko traded to the New York Rangers. This is something that's been more than a year in the making, really. And David, moving Tarasenko was something that the Blues had to do.
Oh, most definitely. Mainly because they weren't going to re-sign him. This is the last year of his contract. And quite frankly, it's looking like the Blues might not even get to the playoffs this year. So you might as well send him off and get something for him. In this case, a conditional first-round draft pick from the Rangers.
Yeah. You're talking about that draft pick as maybe the biggest thing the Blues are getting in this deal. Full terms of the deal, Vladdy and Nico Mikkola, the defenseman, heading to the Rangers. The Blues get Sammy Blais. Hey, he's back in St. Louis. And that first-round draft pick that you mentioned, as you said, conditional. The Rangers own Dallas's first-round pick in this year's draft. The Blues are going to get the later of the two picks that the Rangers have. So it might be what once was Dallas's, or it might just be what was always the Rangers. But that's the condition there. Blues also get a fourth-round pick and the prospect, defenseman Hunter Skinner. David, you mentioned the first-round pick as kind of the centerpiece of this, and that's because Hunter Skinner is a defenseman, which the Blues need, but yeah. That's really all I can say about Hunter Skinner.
Yeah, if you're rating prospects, he's like a C-ranked prospect, which basically means you could see him get called up for like a spot minor call-up role, kind of like some of the other guys that have been going up and down with the team lately. But he's not going to have any impact, and he probably won't for a while until he develops some more.
He's 21 years old.
The other thing in this trade is the Blues are
defenseman.
still.
I'm sorry, just throwing that out there.
No, you're good. The other thing in this trade is the Blues are covering 50% of Tarasenko's contract,
Yes.
which again, honestly, this is a pretty good deal because it still frees up cap room for a couple of moves down the road still.
Yeah, I mean, that half of Tarasenko's salary is off the books for this season. That's important. Hunter Skinner, not necessarily an elite prospect who's a up-and-comer, can't-miss kind of guy. He got drafted in 2019, so he's been milling around. COVID kind of accelerated his development, according to one of the things I was reading, to where he maybe didn't get a chance to develop at the rate that he needed. At this point, it's starting to look like, well, he's been around a little bit. He's in the ECHL. He's not even in the AHL. So that would be the first step. As far as Nico Mikkola moving, he was going to be a free agent as well as Vladdy. So a little bit of the same situation. I think that moving him is just as well because the Blues are getting something for him. I don't think the Blues were going to re-sign him because the Blues have to upgrade defense. And the easiest way to do it is when a kind of steady but not spectacular defenseman is coming off the books. Use some of that Vladdy money and get a better one. That's the easiest way to do it, in my opinion.
Well, and on top of that, they picked up Sammy Blais, who could be used as a trade piece as well.
Yeah.
You also have the potential of Ryan O'Reilly. Are they going to continue looking at maybe moving him too? They could. It just depends on if Doug Armstrong wants to re-sign him or not, and if they can work out a deal. I still lean on the side that I think you might see O'Reilly leave too, just because of the money he might command in the offseason. The Blues need to remove a lot of this because they're right at the cap, and this will free up a lot of money if those two go.
Yeah, I think that with this move, this is one of the biggest moves the Blues could have made, and also the most obvious one that I think had to happen, as we said. And it begs the question: how much of a rebuild is this? Is this kind of a Bennington, Kyrou, and Thomas stick around and then you blow up everything else? Or is it kind of plug and place, replacing guys here and there while trying to stay as competitive as possible? And this move, I don't think answers that question because this one had to happen. Now, if you see O'Reilly and even like someone like a Barbashev get traded for prospects and defensemen and so forth, then I think you're into a full-on rebuild and just blowing it up. But I don't think the Blues need to do that. I think they absolutely should look at revamping the defense. But with a good defense, I think Binnington is fine in net, and the offense is not bad.
Yeah, Eric, I have the same thoughts as you on this. I don't think the Blues are going to blow everything up per se. I think they have maybe 2 or 3 more guys that could potentially trade and make moves. And some of that is to replenish the minor league system, our prospect system, because they are rated like 24th in the league for prospects. So they don't have a lot down there. So some of this could be used to pull in some drafts because this is a talented class coming out. The other thing I'll say is taking Tarasenko off the books, and depending on whatever happens with Ryan O'Reilly, that's almost $14 million you're freeing up that you can look towards upgrading your defense.
Oh, absolutely. I think personally that I'll let Ryan O'Reilly go. I think it's hard to do because he is the captain. He's a popular player. I think that's best for the franchise as you transition. And this is a transition time for the Blues. I mean, Tarasenko, this is his 11th season with the Blues. And even though he wasn't the captain, he was the face of the franchise for a decade, basically. So I feel like if you're willing to do that, as obvious as it was, I think you got to embrace that it's a new era that really you're transitioning into.
Yeah, and with the contracts to Kyrou and Robert Thomas, you got your new core basically. So now you're going to start programming around those guys and rebuilding from the inside out, if you will. And it's not a full-on rebuild, but these moves will help supplement the guys they need to make this a competitive team again for next year.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have Thomas, Kyrou, and I hope they hang on to Barbashev personally. But I think with those three, and then even guys on defense like Justin Falk, Nick Leddy, I think there's pieces that you can build around that maybe they aren't all spectacular, but get the right pieces around them, and the sum is greater than the individual parts.
Yeah, agreed. Anyway, I think this might be the first of a few moves the Blues might make before the trade market or the trade deadline closes. So stay tuned. We'll keep you updated with any more news. And this will be an interesting ride to see what they do for our future.
Yes, it will.
Thank you for watching.